Hey there, we have got sound this morning. I'm going to adjust my hat here. So it's Nafissa, Shireen, and welcome to the Thursday morning meeting. So for those of you who don't know me, I'm Nafissa Shireen. I'm the host of Living Forward TV, and I'm also the founder of Living Forward Business and Lifestyles. And what we do here at Living Forward is we help entrepreneurs to create six and multi-six-figure success after the 9 to 5 while keeping personal freedom at its core. I'm just going to figure out where to clip this mic today. I had to... Boy, what a morning this is. I live in Vancouver, Canada. I'm hoping you can hear me there. And it is winter here. We don't really get that cold here in the winter in Vancouver, but December, early January, it can get below freezing. And I woke up yesterday to no heat, and it turns out our heater and our furnace died in the night. We built this house, I think in 2005, 2006, a long time ago. We built it brand new. And of course, when you build a house brand new, everything in it's brand new, and they all have the same age. So of course, all of our appliances this year have ended their useful life, and they're all dying one by one. So we replaced the dishwasher in September, the washer and dryer last month, and now it's the furnace. And because it's December, because it's cold, the furnace company has us on the emergency list, but they have not been able to come yet. So that's why I'm all bundled up here. I got my hat on to keep my head warm. I wasn't going to put like this on because I figured I would look kind of silly if I did that. So I have my cap on, but it is a little chilly, but I still wanted to be here. I've left the fire down in the living room to come and be with you guys today. So tell me who you are and where you're watching from today, and I would love to get to know you. I'm just trying to get the comments up here so that I can see who's with me. Now, I have my cell phone here, so I'm going to have a look here and try to man the comments as we chat. Now, this past month, the month of December, on all our morning meetings, we have been talking about the topic of how your personal growth completely relates to your income growth. I just posted a mega post on my personal page, and it's public, so you can go to it and you can read it. It's a little bit about what we're going to be talking about today. I just found it really timely because I had a conversation with a friend of mine yesterday about this same topic. Obviously, when we put stuff out there in the world, we're going to have those conversations because that's what's happening in our world. So it was a great conversation. She gave me permission to share it. I would encourage you to go read it. We're probably going to cover some of this right now. So this entire month, we have been talking about this concept of personal growth relating to income growth. And that's because your income can always surpass your technical ability. It doesn't matter how good or how bad you are at Facebook ads, Facebook Live, social media, if you've got your book out, what your course is like, even your core skill as a practitioner, right? Like I'm a coach, or maybe you're a healer, an architect, accountant, designer. I mean, those are very, very important. Don't get me wrong. However, sometimes people, the most talented, the most skilled, the most technically savvy people struggle to make money. And it has nothing to do with how talented they are. I've seen artists and designers and photographers whose work is just world class, and they make very little money because they have not gotten out of their own way. And that's why personal growth is so important today. And one of the questions my friend asked me yesterday, and I thought this was really interesting because our topic today is about how you can't grow alone. And she had asked me, well, listen, I want to take a course here, and it was some technical marketing course. She goes, and I'm also looking at working with a coach next year. Now, obviously, she wouldn't be working with me, so there was no personal bias here because it was a very close friend. And so, as you can understand, somebody I have cocktails with regularly is not somebody I'm going to coach, right? We just have too much familiarity in our relationship for me to show up as strong as I need to be and the way I am with my clients, because as a coach, we want to challenge our clients. We want to help them move out of their own way. And when it's somebody who's really close to you, it's not always a good idea. So we had this conversation, and I explained to her that, well, you need to do both. I mean, if you need to learn these marketing skills and you definitely need coaching, then do both. And she said, well, I can't do both. Now, I sometimes like to look at life from the perspective of not either or, but and. However, depending where you are in your own growth and your own belief system, you might believe it is either or. So that's why it's really important to grow yourself. Because first of all, personal growth helps you see things through the lens of and. However, without growing yourself, it doesn't matter how good your technical skills are. It doesn't matter how much you know about Facebook Live or the Facebook algorithm or the best social media posts. At the end of the day, it's still you and your belief system and how you show up and what you believe about yourself and your confidence in enrollment conversations and your willingness to stretch yourself out of discomfort that creates the rapid income growth. And so we've been talking about that all month, right? I would encourage you to go back, and if you haven't seen some of our broadcasts, to go and look at a few of them. Just scroll through the video section. They're all there. We've talked about things like risk. We've talked about losing the need to be liked. And that's a big one, because the need to be liked, as hard as it is to let go of that, because we worry about what people think of us, that's one of the biggest income killers there is. We also talked about boundaries. We talked about a lot of things, right? And as you see, these are all soft skills. None of these are skills that relate to how well you know Facebook Live or how well you know social media or how well you know how to put an online course together, right? That's all technical. And a lot of that stuff can actually be hired out. All of those things, like the boundaries and the risk and the losing the fear of being liked and stepping outside your comfort zone, those are all things that have to do totally with what's going on in between your ears. And that is why your personal growth will correlate to your income growth. And that's why today our topic is why you can't do it alone. It's impossible to do that kind of stuff alone because it's so uncomfortable, because our conditioning from the time we were babies or even before we were born was to be safe, was to please people, was to think in terms of either or, was to think about, what we can't do, right? And so, hold on, I'm just kind of sipping my coffee here. And so we have all this a lifetime of conditioning, and then we have a lifetime of experiences. If we have fear of rejection, or we have fear of being unloved, or we have fear of not being worthy, those are fears that are going to underlie everything we do. And it kind of comes across, right? It comes across subconsciously. And, it's funny, I talk about horses a lot. I was talking to one of my horse coaches the other day, and, we were talking about how people sometimes might think of a horse as a bad horse. It doesn't matter how they show up or how they treat that horse. If that thought's in their head, it is subconsciously communicated to the animal, and it affects you. However, I have a team that can help me with that, because what's important is that I'm here, that I'm here to share a message with you. Everything else that goes on in my business related to creativity, technical, we have a lot of tech apps in the background. I don't know how to do any of that. Even when I created my online course, I didn't know how to do any of that. I knew how to do the content. Somebody else put it all together and did the marketing for me. So you can really hire out a lot of this stuff, and the more you grow, the more you'll be able to make the money to afford this kind of stuff. And why I say we can't do it alone. So I'm just going to use myself as an example, because I've been working with coaches and mentors since 2006 or 7, I can't remember. It's been a long time. And if I've ever had a pocket where I haven't been working with someone directly at that time, it's usually just because I'm about to go into another phase of my life, and I've just concluded with somebody, and I'm trying to figure out what's the right next step. And a coach, and sometimes you need a coach just to figure out that, right? Like when I've kind of sometimes finished with one coach and I'm trying to figure out what, where's my next step, and I'm not sure who to hire, I've actually invested in a VIP day with like a clarity coach that would just help me make that choice, right? And so it's always about really growing myself, because when we have fears, right? Like if we're afraid of something, who's going to help us? Who's going to get us through things? Who's going to help us to do what we need to do that's uncomfortable? And I wanted to elaborate on our topic for today, because we talk about you can't do it alone, and you also can't do it with people that don't buy into your vision, or people that aren't willing to walk the path that you are, because a lot of times our friends, our family, our community, they're still stuck in that middle class mindset. They're still thinking about safety, and they love you, and if they see you taking a risk to grow your business, to grow yourself, to take those steps, they're going to be uncomfortable about it for a couple of reasons. One is if you grow, you could leave them behind, right? If you grow, you might do things that they don't believe in. Also, they're worried, well, what if you take this risk in running your business or going out there and you lose money? Or what if people reject you? They don't want you to be hurt. So they're going to be wanting to keep you safe. And so you can't grow alone, and you can't grow with the community that you have around you. Now, I'm not saying you necessarily are going to get rid of the community around you, because, we have relationships, we have family. That's part of our life. And we also want to put ourselves in the company of the people that are going to help us get to where we want to go, the people that will champion us. And so what's really important in all of this is, who you choose to hang out with. Like, who are your companions? Having a mastermind is also an important part of that, and having the coaching and mentoring. So for me, I know when I've always had masterminds. I didn't necessarily have masterminds when I was in my corporate days. I did have a coach, but the masterminds at that point they were kind of informal, right? You'd have the whole level of senior management, and we'd all meet together, and we'd have our weekly meetings, and really that is a mastermind. And creating results is really important through a mastermind. I have Think and Grow Rich here, which is one of my favorite books. I like to read it daily if I can. Just sometimes it's just even a paragraph, like it's part of how I grow. But Napoleon Hill, and people that have read this book, if you haven't read it, what's in here is still valid today in terms of creating what you want for yourself. And he talks about the power of the mastermind. He calls it the driving force and the 9th step to riches. So he lays out all these steps to getting to riches. And he says power is essential for success in the accumulation of money. He says plans. So again, now we're talking about the technical skills, right? How we've said you can always outgrow your technical skills, but your business can't outgrow your growth. So he says plans are inert and useless. So you might have the best Facebook ad strategy. You might learn how to do a course. You might have a social media course that you're taking. Even my course, The Secrets to Getting Booked, which is guaranteed to get you on stages. None of that's going to help you. I mean, we've got people in that program that aren't doing anything about it because they're too afraid to get on stage, right? So while that course will help them, will fill their calendar, will get them booked, if they're too afraid to get on stage, they're not going to do the work. So, we're working with them to help them, and we're bringing resources in to help them with that. But some of them probably need to hire some coaching or some speaking coaches or presentation coaches to help them get over that stage fright so that they can actually implement it. So he says here, plans are inert and useless without sufficient power to translate them into action. So you see, this gets back again, like you need that internal piece to help you turn your plans into action. And then he says, power may be defined as organized and intelligently directed knowledge. So yes, through your technical skills, you get that knowledge, but that power comes from organizing and intelligently directing them. And he says, power is required for the accumulation of money. Power is necessary for the retention of money after it's been accumulated. That's an important part. And then he says that you gain power through the mastermind, because the mastermind may be defined as coordination of knowledge and effort in a spirit of harmony between two or more people for the attainment of a definite purpose. So in addition to coaching and mentoring, which I'm a huge fan of, obviously, masterminding is, I think it kind of runs parallel with it. And every time I've been working with a coach or mentor, I've always also been in a mastermind, because when you work with a mastermind, you can learn so much from other people's perspectives, even if they're in a completely different industry. I know that I learned so much just from listening to people who do totally different things. With our video and our video production, we're not just looking at videos for coaches in the coaching industry. I look at makeup videos, I look at photography videos, and some of the real popular ones like Peter McKinnon and Casey Neistat. That stuff drives me bonkers. However, there's something to learn there, right? So imagine when you can bring that closer to you and you can have different perspectives. Masterminding is so powerful. One of my keys to success this year is every Friday I'm in a mastermind. And that, unless we're filming, because we film on Fridays once a month, I am there. And if we can't make it, we change the date, because it's that important. And the beauty about having a mastermind is there's somebody who leads it. There is, it's a group of people that will not buy into your story. So I know if I show up to a mastermind and say, oh, I'm not feeling well, I didn't want to make my sales calls, or, oh, this happened, nobody there is going to say to me, oh, man, you had a bad week, take a break. They're going to say, pull your head out of your butt. Why are you making excuses? Let's unpack this and see what caused these events in your life, or what caused you to feel this way, because there's something else there. And when they're not buying into my bull crap, I move forward, and I treat them the same way. So that's why when we think about that, it's super, super important. And also, one of the things to remember too is, and my mentor has said it, and a lot of other people have said it too, is that our income will reflect the 5 people we spend the most time with. And that's not just income, right? That's like, if our health and fitness, or who we are, or, like with me, with my horseback riding, all the things that we want to be, or how we want to become in life. It could be your spirituality. It will reflect the 5 people you spend the most amount of time with. And so that's why, not only can you not do it alone, because you've got nobody to help you, if you're doing it with the people that are not wanting to create the results you want to create, if they're outnumbering you, you're going to create those same results. And so that's why having a mastermind, having a group of people, and I mean, really, they're kind of like professional friends, like you're paying to be there. And when you're paying to be there, you show up differently. I've been, like in the early part of my business, I would join masterminds that people would throw together because they're thinking, hey, we've all got a common goal, let's mastermind. And you know what? It was a total BS mastermind, because there wasn't commitment. People flaked off, they didn't show up for the calls, and nobody got results. So when there was a financial container around it, we got results. And so I refused to be part of a mastermind myself that I don't pay into. I was at an event a couple weeks ago at Amy Porterfield's event, and there were women at the table that wanted to create a mastermind. And I said to them, well, no, not unless, first of all, I'm already in one. However, I would not participate in just a make good, feel good mastermind. So that's one important thing. And the other things too that happen with your mastermind is, like, it's weekly or bi-weekly accountability, and it's people that are, and you have to trust your members, right? And it's people that will help you pull apart and unpack a situation. It's people that will champion you and that you'll create bonds with for life. And energetically, when you have that energy around a relationship or energy around a goal, it actually pulls you forward and it moves you forward. One of the things I used to do, and I haven't done it in a long time, and I might bring it back, is every quarter I used to do what was called Power Action Mornings with my clients, where we would gather together on Zoom, and at the top of the hour I would give them a challenge, and then they had 50 minutes to complete it. And the whole idea behind that was to just get stuff done, get stuff off your desk, get those emails out, like whatever it was. And we could set a clock and do it ourselves. Like sometimes I encourage people, if you've got a lot of stuff, pick a time, set a timer, and get it done. And if you're struggling with that, we do have an older episode of Living Forward, or not older, last week's episode tells you how to handle when you're overwhelmed, and I take you behind the scenes and show you what I do. But here's the thing. You can set a timer for yourself, and you can accomplish a lot with that framework. But when you've got that energy and you know that you're going to come back online and there's like 10 other people all doing the same thing, you can feel that. It doesn't matter where they are in the world, you can feel their energy. And you actually get double done what you would do on your own. So that energy, when you're in a mastermind, will come through and it will give you strength. It will power you through. It will help you. Now, the other thing too about not doing it alone is I believe everybody needs a mentor, right? Why? Because all of us are blind to our brilliance and we're blind to our blind spots. That's why they're called blind spots, right? We may not see the things that we're doing that are stopping us. The thing about entrepreneurship is, like, every step of the way, you're always going to be facing you. Like, your biggest competition is yourself. It's your own inertia. It's what holds you back. It's all the things that, everywhere you stop yourself is your biggest competition. there's nobody out there that does the same thing as you or similar things to you that are going to cause more, that's going to take business away from you more than you'll take business away from yourself by stopping yourself. And so that's why when you have a coach and you have a mentor, they're going to help you see that. Now you have to be coachable, right? Because if you're just going to be defensive, and I used to be defensive too, it doesn't work. And coaches aren't there to necessarily like just tell you, okay, I think this or I think that. They're going to ask questions, and it's the questions that will create awareness inside you. And sometimes they can be pretty uncomfortable, and sometimes they can upset you in the moment. And if you're willing to really take the feedback from the question and really ask yourself those questions, because Tony Robbins says, right, the quality of your life depends on the questions you ask. So asking better questions creates better answers. It can really open things up, and a coach and a mentor is really going to help you with that. And they're going to give you their belief in you when you can't have it yourself. And I think I said this the other day, right? One of the things my own mentor says to me is that the degree to which a person can grow is in direct proportion to the amount of truth they can face about themselves without running away. And so when we're talking about that's really growing, right? We're talking about the degree a person can grow. So when you grow, the next step up is that your income grows. And so it's so important through your journey to make sure that you've got that support. If you're struggling on your own, you don't have to do that. And that there's nothing worse than that feeling like, you're in a vacuum, or you don't know how to get the help you need, or you need somebody to just tell you like, hey, it's okay, right? Or for somebody else to say to you like, maybe you need to look over here. You're shining the light on this problem. What if we shine it over here? And that's where your mentor is going to help you. And, somebody asked me the other day, what was my most affordable coaching program? And I actually did not answer that question, because that's not somebody who is actually believing in themselves. Because if you're buying a coaching program based on price, and I saw somebody post this the other day, so I'm not going to take credit for these words, because she really summed it up as best I've seen somebody do, and so they're not my words. However, the message was important, where she said, if you're buying based on price, you're either going to buy the least expensive or the most expensive, right? Because you're going to try to buy something affordable, or you're going to buy something really expensive because you think, well, this person's really expensive, so they have to be good. Neither of those are true. The right coaching program for you is the one that's going to help you create results. It's the one where you're going to get value from it, because a $2,000 coaching investment that you don't show up for, you don't do the work, that you don't align with the coach, even though it's affordable, if you don't get results, it may not be a lot of money, but I feel any amount of money to spend that you don't get return from is too much. Whereas you might invest, I know I've invested multi-six figures with my coaches, and that's not exactly affordable at the time I do it. However, I know that I'm going to take the action, that I'm going to do the work, and it's paid off in spades, right? So if you're getting a massive return from who you become through the coaching, and it's not up to the coach, right? Like, you got to do your own push-ups. However, when you're looking at that return, then affordable comes right out of the question, right? Like, if I told you for every $50 you spend, I'm going to guarantee you for every $50 you spend, you're going to get $5,000 back, right? It wouldn't matter if you didn't have $50. It wouldn't matter if you were in debt up to your ears. You would be looking everywhere you could to get those $50. And you'd borrow, you'd beg, you'd get more credit. You would do that because you knew you were going to get a return. Now, nothing in life is guaranteed. No stock market, Bitcoin's not guaranteed. Your business isn't guaranteed. There's always an inherent loss of capital. But the one thing that is consistent is you. And if you know that you trust yourself and you can guarantee yourself you're going to show up, you're going to do the work, you're going to take the coaching, you're going to take the feedback from your mastermind, then you know what? You've got a pretty good shot at really doing something spectacular. Sure, there's going to be bumps along the way. Things might work, some things might not work. As I've said, I've had launches that have totally flopped, and I've invested a lot of money in them, and nothing happened. And other launches have done spectacular, and some have done really well without spending a dime. So it's just about understanding the parts and pieces of what goes on and still moving forward, and having the stick-to-itiveness that when something doesn't work, to get up and keep going and to take that next step. I couldn't have done that without my masterminds and without my mentors. So this is our last bit here on this whole part about personal growth leading to income growth. Now, I wanted to also let you know that I just recently, so how my business works is I work primarily one-on-one with clients, and I always provide a group element because I believe there's magic in one-on-one, and I've kind of shied away from group programs because I wanted to be a little bit different. However, I do have a group element to all my programs, and I've had quite a few people asking me for a more accessible way to work with me. Now, when I say accessible, again, I don't like the word affordable, because if you're going with affordable, you're already taking yourself out, right? If you're saying, I can't afford this, that means you don't think you're going to get a return. That means you don't think you're going to do the work. And at the same time, I also know when you're just starting out and you haven't done the personal work, sometimes it can be hard to get there, because it's like a catch-22, right? It's kind of like, well, you need to grow, but you haven't grown yet because you haven't had the help to grow. So what I've done, and we're doing this in 2018, and I don't have a lot of spaces in it because I primarily work with my private clients, but we've opened up the group portion of our programs, and we've beefed it up, and we've created the Circle of Excellence, and that is where we have a mastermind call once a month. We also have a book study, so we're going to be doing a book club, and we're going to be studying books on personal development, and I'm going to be leading that, and we're going to be implementing from that. And in this program, you're going to have access to a forum with your members. You're going to have access to a whole lot of benefits, and for those who enroll before December 31st, I'm bonusing you with my Secrets to Getting Booked digital program. I'm going to bonus you to all the quarterly workshops I'm doing next year, where they're virtual, so you have no travel involved. So the first one's going to be all about getting your content strategy out for next year. The second one's all about sales and enrollment conversations. So there's a lot of support in that mastermind, and I'd encourage, I'm going to put a link to it below here. I'd invite you to check it out. You can join us anytime, provided we have space. We're going to keep the actual mastermind circles really small because I want everybody to have individual attention on the mastermind calls. And so those mastermind calls are a combination of masterminding with other entrepreneurs. I was going to say peers, but you may not have peers in there. I'm going to match the groups up really well. And so it'll be a combination of that plus laser coaching from me. And then you're going to have monthly challenges in the Facebook group. It's your money, like your mindset, money making, and manifesting challenge. We're going to have one on the first of the month. I'm going to be posting it up there, and you're going to be posting your progress. And it's going to be a very small Facebook group. It's not going to be like my big Living Forward Facebook group where there's almost 1,000 people in there. This is going to be just our Circle of Excellence members, and it's going to be very private, very exclusive, so you can communicate freely. You can ask questions safely, and your mastermind will be there, and I'm going to be there to answer you. So I'm going to put a link to that below. Like I said, I've made it crazy accessible because I know that if price is an issue, we have stuff to work on with you, and you need to be getting that confidence, and you need to be making that first step for yourself. So take that first step, right? You can't do it alone. You want 2018 to be spectacular, you gotta grow yourself. You gotta do things differently than you did in 2017. You can't expect to do what you did this year and have different results next year. So that's just something I'm putting out there for you to consider. We'll put the link to that below. I would love to hear your comments, right? What's happened for you in your life in terms of, the people you hang out with, what you need for support, how you do it. I'd love to know. And if you're here on replay, leave a comment too, because I always come back and interact and engage with you. Thank you so much, guys. This will be our last morning meeting of 2017. I'm coming back probably January 4th. I think that's the Thursday. And then I'm considering, I have to give it some thought over the Christmas break, but I may come to you every day, a little bit shorter, just during the month of January to just give you some some oomph and feedback and your marching orders for the day to help you feel a little more energized first part of the year. I haven't quite decided. I may just stick to the Tuesday, Thursday morning meetings, but we might do that just for a month. Anyways, if I don't, well, I will probably pop in with a couple of casual lives. It won't be the morning meeting, but I hope you have an awesome holiday, that you go out, you do things, you eat the food. Who cares about the waistline, right? It's just a couple of days. You can exercise in January. Enjoy yourself, enjoy your family, enjoy the downtime, and thank you all so much for being part of my community. I love having you here. Have a great day.